everybody, it's Lisa with Junk Journal Gems. I am so glad that you are joining me today. I just had to double check and make sure that I was filming. All right, I have been working away at the Prom Dress Journal cover, and I needed some brain time to do part of this without trying to talk and think and film at the same time. Sometimes all of those three together is just too difficult. So here's what I have done. I first took, this is a green hanging file folder, and used that as the inside base of the cover. And then I have disassembled the bodice portion of my prom dress, which, my goodness, that I've never taken out so many stitches in my entire life. This truly is a labor of love. So what I did once I had the bodice disassembled, and I also took off the collar of the dress. The bodice, of course, to fit we gals, was shaped like this, like an hourglass. So I had to cut the edges of the bodice. Let's do this. So this is the bodice. It was shaped like this. So then I had to cut it so that it was straight. And then that left me with a panel that was not, because of where the armholes are. I'm a petite person, and I was a little bit more petite when I was in high school. So then I needed to measure and cut some additional panels and sew that on to fill in the upper and lower edges. Then, because of the length of the bodice, only went so far, and because there was a scoop where the collar was up here, I had to straighten that as well and cut an additional piece to go on the back. So when the journal is closed, it will be like so. Okay? So that's that so far. So what I'm doing now is I am gluing these edges along the sides here. And the fabric also has been a bit of a challenge, because that gunny sacks fabric is a very flowy, lightweight fabric, a very light cotton, very loose weave. And the lining of the dress, so it would be a little bit more opaque. I used the lining, and that's, I don't know what this would be, like a polyester or something. So I'm using that as well. So it's junk journaling. We're using the pieces that we have at the ready. Now, because of how that lining gets stringy, I'm having to do the corners a little differently than we would normally do, because I don't want to cut it too short and end up having strings hanging out of the corner of the journal. So I've just kind of had to play with this as I go along. So if you see something that's done a little bit differently than we would normally do, that's why. It's just because of the type of materials that I happen to be working with for this particular journal. So I am going to take my glue globs off of my glue here, and I think what I will end up doing then, and like I said, oh, if you guys only would have seen all of the seams. I spent most of my day yesterday, well, not most, but a good chunk of my day taking seams out, and I had to be careful. I was taking apart the right areas and not taking the ribbons off the bodice, but I am so happy to preserve this dress that I loved so much. Would I want to do this in a journal every day? No. But if you have a article of clothing or a piece of fabric or something that is meaningful to you, this is a way to purpose and reuse it and still be able to keep that without having, in this case, a prom dress hanging in the closet, never to be used again. So that's been my pleasure with this project. And then what I do is I put clamps around here just to hold it until it adheres well. And then what we'll do, what my plan is right now, is then for the inside of the front and back covers as end pages, I'm going to use some more of the Edith Holden book pages. So, whoops, got some globbing out here. And it doesn't take very long for the Fabri-Tac to kind of set up. Oh, I just stuck my finger in it. That's what I get. Oh, that is not going to work. Oh, buddy. That will work much better. Okay. And I will do my best to try to remember to stay in focus with the camera. And I probably will have to go back and touch up some of these edges, but I'm just trying to get it down and out of the way a little. Like right here, I can see already that I need to fix that, or it's going to bother me. There we go. So excited to get this done. Excuse me. Today is Saturday. I've been off this week, so I have to keep reminding myself what day it is. But today we have another graduation party to go to, so. All right, I see a piece here that didn't really adhere well. Well, it's not that it didn't adhere well, I kind of missed a spot. Can't adhere if I don't put the glue down. Art glitter glue would also hold this fabric because it is so light. I just happen to like working with the Fabri-Tac for this kind of thing. Okay, keep going around the edge here. I should have pulled out more binder clips than 4, but I didn't ahead of time, sorry. So then I just keep moving these around as things stick down. And even though I'm moving them, it will take a little bit longer for it to dry after that. So, yeah, I had to take a little break in the project to work on something else. So I worked on those clusters. That was so much fun. I kind of want to do it again. That was a lot of fun. I will do it again. I don't know if I'll do it on camera. I don't know how much of the same thing you want to be watching. All right, so here we get around to the end. So we'll just tuck that. Oh, I see. I want to put a little dab in here. And then like this. Okay, and then I press it down pretty good. Now I'm hoping that the Edith Holden book pages will be enough over where the fabric meets. I'm not worried about where there's not a seam, but in an area like this where there's a seam, I'm hoping it's not going to be too bulky. But it's only one way to find out. And since this is my journal, if it isn't perfect, I'll be fine with it. So here's the collar that I cut off. I intend to use this, excuse me, as the closure for the book. One of the buttons came loose and I'll have to sew that back on. But this will be the top part, and then this piece will be the bottom, so it will button up like that. So it's been fun to repurpose pieces of the journal. And then what I will do, I think, is use a portion of the dress maybe for a pocket. I don't know. Again, it's such thin fabric with such a loose weave. And if I use this for lining, I don't know if that will work out as I hope, but I'd like to make a writing board for the book because it's so thick and because I've got it so chubby, which I love for this. It's just the texture. When I say texture of a book, I mean the feel of it in the hand. When I turn the pages, what is the experience of the book going to be? So I'm totally fine with that. It's actually what I wanted. Not everybody would want that. But the beauty when you're making your own book is you can make it however you want. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for a minute. I marked some pages that I thought went really well with the signature colors. That one just couldn't be any better. And then there's another one back here. Isn't that pretty? Gosh, there just aren't enough. There isn't enough Edith Holden in the world to go around. But look how well that goes. Oh. All right, so that's our next task here, is we're going to cut this out. But I don't know. Yeah. I was debating if I wanted to loosen up the entire signature or not, but I do. I'm looking for my knife. So this is how I tend to take a signature apart, is I just pop the threads in the signature. Now I lost my page. There it is. And then what you can do is see how easily these just pull out. Here's the page that I want. So there's that one that we'll cut. And then let's go for the other one. And we've got to find the center of that signature. But in this book, there's some of the end pages of a signature then that are glued onto the end here. And I think, of course, yep, the one that I want is glued. So we're going to have to cut that one. This is not something that everybody feels comfortable doing, and I totally understand that. So just jump ahead if this is not something that you agree with. But there we go. That cut out really easily. All right, let's try the other one. That out of the way before I cut it. Wouldn't that be disappointing? Ugh, I'd be sick about it. All right, let's make sure we're straight here. I don't think the paper itself is straight. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Where am I here? So that's that line. And we're going to come over just a little bit. I hope I'm straight. I might just have to cut it on the paper cutter when I'm done schooling it. Wow, that cut's really easy. Okay. Definitely can use this for something else. Don't toss it out. Now, what's upside down? What's right side up? It goes like this. So do I want this here? And then I want this one here. Okay, definitely. Do I want it like that? I might want it like this because this part would be cut off part way. And then I can cut part of this off. Yep. Front, back. Okay. Whoa. So let's see how we're doing here. All right, very good. Very good. I'm gonna have to coax where I glued here for the bend of the book a little bit. Okay, so there's that. Now, I think what I will need to do next, oh, the other thing that I had to do, because when I undid, goodness, I've got glue everywhere. When I undid or took the seam out from where the collar was attached to the dress, oh, I see part of the laces broken, whatever. When I broke the seams, it left this open, so I had to top stitch it back down again. Just want to put a little dab of glue here. Put that back down. Stay put. Not on me. Okay. Ugh, hold on. I've got to clean my hands. Get out the trusty baby wipes. I couldn't handle it. There. Feels better already. Ooh. Okay. There we go. All right, so what I will do then is, how do I want to do this? This goes on the back, so I have to remember that the ribbon goes down. Then I think I'm going to try to top stitch right over where I top stitched earlier. And then this goes like this. But to hold it in place while I am sewing. And I'm also just debating about this bulk. I am wondering if I would be successful at all cutting a layer of this off. I don't know. That's a big decision. It's just that, again, it's that stitching I'm worried about. But you know what? There's stitching over here, so I've got to worry about it in other places. Let's just go for it. Here's what I'm going to do to just hold it in place while I sew. Just put a little dab of glue on. Because of the pearly buttons on the bodice, I kind of have to coax this. Otherwise that gets in the way. All right. Then that goes there. Could you hear the neighbor going by on his UTV? He's just so cute, tootling around in that thing. All right. There we go. So hold that thought and I'm gonna sew it down. Okay. So I managed to sew exactly where the other stitch was. That's a miracle. I'm not the best seamstress. In fact, working with this fabric yesterday reminded me because I'm short, of course, the dress needed a lot of alterations when I got it. And not only in the length, but if I recall, there was the sleeves. My mom would remember better than I, but it needed a little work so it fit me properly. And I remember the lady who worked on it making some sort of a comment about that it wasn't exactly the easiest task because of the fabric. And yesterday working with it, I was reminded of that. And she was an older woman. I'm sure she's passed away now, but I have a new appreciation for what she did for me. So my dress fit me nicely because it isn't the easiest stuff to work with. And I don't sew clothes. That's not my jam. So part of my appreciation comes from that too. All right, so now we will have a closure like so. Oh, that is cute. All right, so now I'm thinking about how do I want to put my binding in, or my signatures in the binding and create the binding. So I already cut this template out, and I think what I need to do is to make another piece this same size because I'll need a piece to go in the back, but I also need the template so I can see. No, I don't. How do I want to do this? This will be the piece that I use to poke the holes in. Then I'll need to put fabric on it underneath. So I have about an inch, let's say, that overlaps here to hold the spine in, so I can put this down on top of it. Yeah, I think that's how we'll go about it. Here's my button. I don't want to lose the button. Okay, so let's go ahead first and I'll get my signature tools. Okay, so here's my book of many holes. It's about time to find another one because, yeah, been used and abused. And then I have this wax thread to use. And this is kind of an off-white. Does it say that? It's called a cream. And I got this off Etsy, or not Etsy, Amazon, I'm quite sure, but this matches perfectly with the papers. So what I need to do first is to first check that my signature is all right side up and in the order that I like. And it looks as though it is. And move Edith up here a little bit. Whoops. Come on. And yes, I leave my things in here unless if while I'm putting the signature in, it's really bothering me. Most often, unless it's something really bulky, like this probably could have stood to wait. And since this is the first one, I tend to put the middle signature in first. So let's double check this one. That's all good. That's good. It's going to be so much fun writing in this journal. It's just so full of yummy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay, now here, this is bothering me, so I'm going to take this letter out. With all my journals that I sell, I include a copy of an actual vintage letter on coffee dyed paper, and then the user kits to read the letter and write on the back of it, it's journaling space. All right, so with this, I need to stand up. And you may see my head in frame. And then what I do is I clip my signature. I'm gonna do this part first because I've got this pinched tight. Come on. So that's that. Here we go. And make sure this is pinched. When I say pinched tight, you want your signature folds in as tight as possible together. And there's that. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, you know what? I don't think, sometimes I fold this and put this right in here. But I am going to mark this as up. That way each time I punch, I know that I'm getting the same result. And I'm going to mark where I want this positioned on the page. So that's the same as well. Sorry, I'm a little... You can hear my husband sawing outside probably. He's putting up a new mailbox holder for our whole cul-de-sac. Everybody else is seasonal. So he is taking it upon himself to replace the, you know what, I do need to do this. So the way that I do this, I haven't used my scoreboard. Let's try that. I tend to go about it the difficult way, and I guess I don't need to. So let's see here. And this will go right here. This is chipboard, cardboard, whatever you want. It's not really cardboard, it's not cardstock, but this is the kind of paper that you get either on the cover of a paper pad or a scrapbook paper pad that you buy at Hobby Lobby or something like that. see a little bit. I hope you can see okay. Now this one, sometimes I need to adjust it so I am perfectly where I need to be. Whoa. But with this, it's hard to stay in the groove because it's so thick. Okay, let's try this. Just go along and coax it. There we go. So that way I can get it in the crease of the signature. This is just what works for me. I know that there's other ways of sewing in signatures. You know, I encourage you to watch several videos on how to sew in signatures and then just find the way that appeals to you. And sometimes you've got to alter it depending upon what you're working with for that particular journal and the materials, like in this case, how I had to alter working with the cover because of that prom dress fabric. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's get this back. And then we'll just clip this in here. Whoop. Needs to go up a little more. Come on. There we go. Again, making sure that those folds are tight. There. This will work much better. So this is the middle signature, so we're using the middle dots. And what I did to make this is I cut the piece of chipboard. What I did was I take my signatures and I stand them up. And you see how when you hold the backs tight, that goes in, and what you end up with a puffy journal like this is this alligator mouth. In order to prevent that, what I'm doing in the book is I'm spacing the back of the signature out on the template here, so I've got enough space and I don't end up with such a wide alligator mouth toward the opening of the book. So it will lay more like this. See what I mean? I hope that makes sense. All right. So let's get punching. And then I just measured that out. You got to play with it a little bit. This tool, I think, this is actually a tool like a little screwdriver for eyeglasses. It's probably a little bigger than I need. But it's what I've been using. Okay, that came all the way through. This is all the way through. And this is all the way through. Okay, so we've got our middle signature. Together here, and you want to keep it clamped while you're sewing it in so things don't go awry on you, but I do need to get this template out. So I'm just going to remove that very carefully, just removing one clamp at a time and keeping everything tight and together. Very good. Okay, so this will be ready to sew in. But because I bent this now, I don't want to use this, I don't think, as my piece. But let me think here. I am going to have to cover it the piece that I do use with some kind of coordinating fabric on the inside of the journal. So let's cut another piece like this. Here's my heavier duty cover. Let me get another piece of chipboard. I use these pieces of chipboard when I ship things from my Etsy, so I just keep all the offcuts. And then I go in and I find the weight that I'm looking for. Some of these are pretty thin. Here's one that's about the same. Oh, here's a good one. So what I do is I'm just going to cheat and do this. Save that because you can make paper clips, you can do all kinds of things with those. And then, you know what? I'm going to cut just a skosh more off. Why did it? There we go. Oops. There. That's all I wanted. Was that being picky or what? Oh my. All for the love of crafting. All right. That's all. That piece I will throw out. Okay. We can get this out of the way. Take a sip of coffee. Okay. So now we need to punch holes. Nope, we'll punch holes after we put the fabric on. So what fabric to use? Hold that thought. I have this really nice remnant of kind of a, I don't know, what would this be? It's like a cotton canvas type of fabric, and I got this at Joann Fabrics. I only buy these when they're 50% off in the remnant bin. And oh my gosh, that's on there tight. It's really a wonderful way to get fabric, is watch the remnants are already cheap, but then you can get them at a really good price when the remnants, when they're really trying to push them out the door and they're only half the already discounted price. So like I said, I got, I don't know, how much fabric would this be? It's a good amount. Did the label say? Let's see. It's a yard of 45-inch cotton. I don't know, what would you call this? It's like a cotton canvas for $5. So that's not bad. All right. And if you could get it for 75% off, that would be even better. So we're going to have to square this up a little bit. You can tell that already. Wait, this end is square. Save ourselves the, oh, maybe not. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Where's the end of it? Right here. So we'll need a piece of it here. We'll need enough to fold over at the end. And we will need about an inch here. And I think what I will want to do is to do that on either side the way I'm doing this binding. Anyway, that's what I'm going with now. Do I have two thicknesses? Yes. Sure nothing's under here. Like my book cover. Oh my God. I'd be sick about it. I'm just rough cutting this right now so I can get it off of this. I've just got too much on my desk right now. And then can work with this. So what I'm doing here, just to describe, there is a method to my madness. So on one side, I'll have this folded over, and then this will hang, these edges will hang out to adhere to the book. Or will it be okay? I've got to put this up to the book to see. No, I think that's fine. I overthunk it. Okay, that'll be fine. Okay, I've got another one for another time. And I can leave this, actually, the edge is a little bit uneven because it's going to be underneath the, I'll move this out of the way. It's going to be underneath the end papers. So that's okay. Oops. Let's bring this over a little bit. This is just a quilting ruler. But it allows you to see underneath the quilting ruler the grid on the cutting mat, so we can, and I moved because I'm not standing up, the grid on the cutting mat so that we can have an even cut. Okay, now let's do the other side here. I'm lining this edge up here. And then my edge over there. And then I will cut this straight here using the lines on my cutting mat. So, I've got so much on stacked all over here. We're going to have a, I think I'll put this toward the back. So then this can go like this. And what we'll need to do is to cut here and cut along here, so we've got these as flaps to glue down. So we've done that. Then we can cut this can be used in making something. It's got a neat texture to it. Kind of almost like a woven rug. Okay. There we go. That can go in scraps. Now what we need to do is to glue this on here. Fabri-Tac. Make sure all my glue is down. I haven't filled up my bottle yet. Been too busy making. Okay. Little on the inside just to make sure it's adhered really well. Okay. There we go. You know what? I'm going to put this on here so I'm not gunking up my mat. Get as close to the edge here as I can so my edges stay down. Come on. Okay, we'll do these two sides first here. Okay. And then just take them, fold them in like so. So then the way it will be in the book is like this, and then the signatures will be on this side. Cut these at more of an angle. Should have done that right away. Boy, it's kind of hard to cut through that selvage area. So now, yep, perfect. Okay, let's get this glued down. last one, folks. All right. We'll let this dry a little bit, and then what we will do after I clean my hands is we'll come back, and in the next video we will actually sew in the signatures, and I'll show you the rest of how to put these things together. And I just realized that I goofed. You guys, I goofed. I'll fix this. What I should have done is exactly the opposite. Oh my goodness. This is why crafting when you're tired is bad. We need to glue these sides down in the book. Thankfully, with Fabri-Tac, it's a little forgiving. So I will fix this, and we will come back and then glue the signature piece in when we get the signatures sewn into the binding. All right, that makes more sense. Thank you for joining me, and watch as you want to continue watching some crafting blunders, and away we go. Have a great day.